Hello, welcome to you all of you. My name's Chris and we're here at De Montfort University. We're going to be giving you the first look inside what will become and is becoming the Leicester Castle Business School. Now, behind me is Magazine Square, which is basically the heart of the MU's campus. And the students who will be using the business school will be enjoying all the things that we have on our campus, but they will be only a short walk away from the newest section of campus, which if you follow me is up here. This is Castle View, an evocative cobbled street up which students will walk as they make their way towards was originally built in the 11th century as a wooden Mott and Bailey castle, but actually in the 12th century was rebuilt by the first Earl of Leicester as the brick structure it is today, open stone structure. But it's just such a kind of historically a real gem that we have in Leicester, and so it is a great delight to be able to bring it back into use. Hello again, connection issues. But over the years, all the big names have stayed here. Leicester Castle, Richard III had a quick night's kip on his way from London to York. Basically a kind of service station, I suppose. A very classy service station. Geoffrey Chaucer, who wrote all the Canterbury Tales, every one of them, he stayed here for a bit as part of the household. And J.M. Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan, was actually a court reporter for the Nottinghamshire Journal, and he was a reporter here, came along, covered Crown Court cases, civil court cases, and left his little signature scratched into the press bench, which I think is still in here. And we are starting our own fairy tale here at Leicester Castle, which Barry, I'm sure, will be proud of. You see, work has already begun with the hoardings and stuff up, and the digging equipment now on site. And soon we're going to be meeting a couple of members of the firms who are doing all of the work, making it into a new business school. Business school, by the way, principal of the new business school is Dana Brown, Dr. Dana Brown, who was formerly the head of the MBA at Oxford's Saïd Business School, so pretty good pedigree. And she also helped found Amazon. So she knows when it comes to business, her onions for a business. So yeah, this is the these are the grounds. You can see here St Mary de Castro Church, which it really is pretty much unmatched around Leicester for a kind of a scenic little quarter. Obviously, yes, you have to use your imagination a bit here because work is very much underway. But this is Castle Yard. It really is going to be a spectacular front bit for the castle. This is the castle. And now I'm going to introduce you to a couple of people who will show us around the building. Hello everybody.
Good morning.
This here is Richard Isley from the architect firm Maber, who have done a lot of the design work and are continuing to, as construction develops, design things, aspects. And this is Dan King.
Yeah, that's right.
Dan is from Robert Woodhead, who are the construction firm who are carrying out all of the work today. And yourself?
I'm Dave Lawson, the site manager.
Dave Lawson, the site manager. So what we're going to do now is basically go through the castle, show you inside what it is at the moment, try and give you an idea of how it will develop and what it will look like when it's finished. So I suppose the first question is, will there be any major changes to Castle Yard and the front of the castle?
Yeah, well, the front facade, we're basically cleaning the brickwork, and it's mainly the refurbishment of the existing windows. which obviously got to be done with sort of great care and attention given the nature of the project. So that's from the visual aspect on the front. There's also an entrance ramp coming up here to allow disabled access coming up to this access door here.
Because your big problem really with the whole project is accessing the site. Generally, you've got the two pretty narrow routes into Castle Yard. How are you solving that? You've got to get some fairly big equipment up here.
Yeah, access to the front and the rear is particularly difficult. We've also got some quite extensive works to do to the rear, to the landscape in the back area, the terraced area. In terms of the rear, we've got to come through the Castle Gardens Parkway, for which we've got to liaise closely with the park manager. Through the front, we're going to erect like a goalpost structure in front of the arch to ensure that any vehicles that are obviously close to the height restriction of the archway are captured before they actually come into the site.
Okay. All right then, chaps, we'll head along to this is what we've got in this section here, and how will this be used?
In behind here, this is the yard. This is where, when the former use as a courtroom, that prisoners in the prison vans used to go in through there and then down into the cells. Currently, that's not forming part of the site and part of the works at this stage.
Okay. You've got some. Are these going to be maintained as toilets?
The toilets, yes, they are. Yes, and they'll form part of the site and used as general storage for the building, really.
Right. Okay. Good. Okay, this is the entrance, main front entrance to the castle building, and it was most recently used as a courtroom until 1992. Crown cases, criminal cases, civil cases, they were all seen here. And so what you'll see around is probably most familiar or familiarly used as a courtroom. So the public telephone box just here. I'm guessing that's coming out.
Yes.
How will this look, this first entrance right here?
So the entrance right here, we're taking out the public telephone box there. It's currently rather crudely crashing into that existing door there that goes into public galleries. So that will be taken off and declutter the whole space really. This screen here at the moment is in quite poor condition, the base of it's rotten. So we're taking this screen out and replacing it with a new full height glazed screen. So as you come through into this lobby area, which will be sort of your access control into the main building, you'll still be able to see the fantastic space and the really nice mint and tile flooring that's down.
Yeah, this tile flooring, I'm guessing that you're going to be restoring it.
We're generally going to leave any bits where there's any broken tiles and things. That's the history of the building, the wear and tear of it. So we're going to be leaving those there, but a clean up definitely. It's probably not been cleaned for 25 years since it was last the courtroom. So
what sort of things do you use to do the clean up? Kind of blasting it, or
we'll probably use steam cleaner to very low pressure so that it doesn't damage.
And that should come up quite impressively, really.
It should do, yes.
And then things like these radiators, are they staying or are they going to be replaced?
The radiators are staying. They're part of quite a historic heating system from 1893 that still is in perfect working order now, which is absolutely fantastic.
Because you've got to, I think it's important to tread that line between obviously creating a new next generation business school, but actually using the fact that this is a historic part of Leicester's historic building and building as many elements into it, I suppose, as you practically can.
Exactly. I mean, the heating system, I say, is one of those quite interesting historic features. It's the system itself. I think there's only 5 or 6 examples of it in the whole country. And this is one that's actually
so unique in this heating system?
It's a plenum system. We've got these are standard radiators, what you're probably used to, but the main courtrooms are heated by hot air plenum systems. So they're 2 layers of basement in the back of the building, with a lot of ventilation tunnels, which then pop up into the 2 courtrooms, and fresh air is ducted from the outside by a fan through these huge heat exchangers, which are probably about 6 foot high, look like the inside of railway locomotives, old steam railway boilers.
Oh, right.
And then that's then ducted underneath the floors, underneath the judges' benches.
It's quite an efficient system then for a building like this.
It's quite efficient in the day, yes, probably not very efficient now, but given that
There's a new boiler going in.
there are new efficient boilers going in, yeah, that's probably about the only gain we can get in thermal efficiency or in energy efficiency in the entire building, given that we can't be going insulating walls because of the historic nature of the fabric.
It is a Grade 1 listed building, so that means quite a lot of limitations / challenges with how you go about this job.
Definitely. And yes, and we've been working very closely with the conservation officers, Leicester City Council, to make sure that what we're doing is sympathetic to the building,
Okay.
and done in a clean way.
Okay, let's go through into this. This is sort of first biggest basic group of people. There's a few changes I know of in this area, particularly with the installation of the lift shaft. But talk us through what will be going on in this room, how this will look.
Okay, so this room will not change a significant amount. This will be the main reception area, so there will be, once you've come through the new partition, there will be a reception desk located in this corner here. As you mentioned, there's going to be the staircase here is going to be removed and a new lift shaft put in, which will then that will allow full accessibility to all the floors essentially of the building. But generally, there's going to be redecoration of the walls. See, a lot of the paint is peeling and cracking. Years and years of incorrect substrates put on and incorrect paints put on made that happen. Another general tidy up with, similar to the telephone box outside, this police telephone box will be removed and the gas cupboard as well on the other side, so declutter of the space as well. And so you get to really appreciate the extent of it and kind of floor, which is
Okay. In general, makeup at the moment, we've got two courtrooms. This one is, I think, was the Crown Court. This one was the Civil Court. We'll go through into this, what we're strongly using, the Crown Criminal Court. And you can give me a really good idea of just how you move this space this is, really. We've got, well, clearly you can see its layout as the courtroom. Got the judge's bench here. I think this one over here was the press bench,
yeah.
And there's a good chance that if Barry's signature is there, it'll be on there. But I'll just show you, this is an impression that Mabel put together of how this might look. So, you can see here, I guess it's a Harvard-style lecture theatre insofar as the lecture will be in the centre of the room. Is this one or is this the other?
It's this one.
It's
yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
See, the lecturer will be in the centre of the room, everyone will be kind of sat around them, and they'll be sort of giving the lecture in the round, as it were. But you get to use all of this amazing woodwork. So try and tell us what kind of things you'll be retaining in here and what you'll be changing.
Yeah, so the majority of the joinery work in here is going to be retained, apart from these barristers' benches here at the front and the clerk's desk as well. These are going to be removed and the floor level dropped to allow level access in. Because at the moment, because there's so many changes in level, you haven't got very good access around this courtroom at all. But then that allows people in wheelchairs to be able to sit comfortably in sufficient space so they can then listen to the lectures properly. But the benches aren't going to be thrown away, they're going to be turned into items of loose furniture so that they can be brought in and out as and when to see how the courtroom was originally set up for when they do heritage tours in the building. There will be a series of TV screens dotted around the room, which will then allow lectures to be presented on. And that's really it in this room. It's a very, very light touch in terms of what we're doing to reformat the space. Obviously, we're going to be looking at changing the floor finishes and looking to be decorating the walls.
I know you've done a fairly exhaustive kind of laser scan of this whole place, and that's taken into account, you see up there, the damaged paintwork and things like that. So is that sort of just a careful restoration job where you've got damage and kind of flaking things and all that?
Where the paint, for example, where that's flaking, that's because the paint that's gone onto there hasn't allowed the wall to breathe, so there's moisture in that wall.
Okay.
Big, thick masonry walls. So at the base here, they're over a metre wide, a metre thick, some of these walls, so there's a lot of moisture in there, potentially. So the paint is stopping that moisture from being released as the building's being heated continuously, even though it's not being occupied for 25 years. But as that was just trying to escape, that's what's causing the paint to peel. So we'll be peeling all of that paint off and exposing the brickwork again, which will then allow the...
That's quite a job.
breathe.
And the logistics of doing that actual work, carrying that out, you've got to get some fairly interesting equipment in here to get up there.
Yeah, access-wise, obviously challenging. We've got a bird cage type scaffolding structure going in here, which is going to have to be intricately placed around what's here at the moment, and in the other courtroom as well. But yeah, to allow us to access the area, the only safe way to do it is to get a full scaffold structure in here.
Okay, well, we'll have a look, because one other aspect is the lighting. We'll talk about that because we can go up onto this balcony. And these balconies will be retained, and you'll see it offers a pretty cool vantage point if people wanted to watch lectures and things like that. But we'll go through into the other courtroom where it's changing a little bit more. So this would have been your civic case would have been heard, and it is going to look quite a bit different in here. So tell me, talk me through how this will change.
Okay, so this courtroom is going through a much more dramatic change than the Crown courtroom. All of the furniture at the lower level is going to be removed. The judges' canopy, panel at the back, and the rear dogs and the dais as well, that's all staying. So you'll still get the impression that this was a courtroom, and you'll still appreciate the fact that you're in a formal courtroom space. But again, the joinery is not just being thrown away. What we're proposing to do is where we've got the changes in floor level here, where the jury's benching is, and around the rear as well, where the public gallery is to reuse some of the courtroom panelling to then infill where we've then exposed the walls below the ground level, which is actually in keeping with what's already happened with a lot of the joinery in here. It's not from, it was never originally designed for this room. It has been taken from other places. We're not quite sure where. We can't find a record of where the joinery has come from in the past. But there is that history of reuse here. As I say, as with all the other rooms, we're taking up all the floor finish as well. There's an original stone floor under here, so hopefully we're going to be able to reinstate that and clean that one up.
So what you basically have quite a roomy room, and that could be used in various ways, seminars and things like that.
It's down to its correct term, is a multifunctional space, so it could be used as lecture theatre, so you could have screens at the side of everyone presenting here, or you could have slightly more round table discussions in here, but then it can also be used in a dining setting out for functions and events, and possibly even for use as weddings if the university chooses to go down that route as well. So really, giving us a nice big open space that the university can really use however they want to.
Yeah, it's hard to get your head around because it is so packed full of furniture in here. But actually, when it's pulled out, it will seem like a very big room.
It will do.
Great. Okay. Well, we'll go through. Maybe we can go through that back room and then we'll go up through the stairs so we can get an idea of what it will look like getting in for the first time. By the way, work's been going on now for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. What stage are we at with the actual work?
So we've had basically about 2 full weeks of asbestos removal work, so there's quite an extensive amount of asbestos in the building. Obviously whilst that's going on, nothing else can be happening, so asbestos works finished on Friday, I believe.
Yeah, they're completed Friday.
Yeah. And now we've got the sort of the soft strip of the work sort of being commenced at the moment.
Was there a lot of asbestos?
Yeah, there's quite a bit, wasn't
It was mainly installation of the pipe work down in the basement areas, and there were some grid systems in the floor down here, some asbestos tiles, and gaskets and washers from the old boiler, so I had to put a lot of the pipe work out and have that removed. But all in all, it went quite well. It did go well, it went to plan in 2 weeks.
A soft strip you mentioned, which is essentially drawing out some of the smaller bits.
Yeah,
and
I
bobs.
mean, things like carpets and stuff and everything's been taken out. I think there's probably about a week's worth of work.
It's alright, you can go. Yeah, and it's just soft strip in action. Carpet removal live in front of you. Good job. Okay, so there are a couple of side rooms you can see. This one that says magistrates only. This is where, when it was used as a courtroom, magistrates would have gone through. If you go through these doors, you can get into the judge's bench bit. So when the judge or the magistrate appears in front of the court, they would have gone through these doors. But this already looks quite different. This is a new floor, isn't it? This is just literally had a carpet taken up.
Yeah, this should just have the carpet taken up.
This would have been the judge's room here, and I think we'll just be used as essentially like a little meeting room, something like that.
The spaces on this side are going to be, this is where the new toilet accommodation is going in. Obviously the building is going to be, there's going to be much higher usage, much more people in the building than there was historically. Usually there's just like one toilet, this whole room is just for one person.
And is that going to be toilets above through there as well?
The toilets are stacked on top of each other, so in the rooms above as well there'll be additional loos, so it makes it easier for services. They're all above each other then, and trying to minimise the disruption really to the existing fabric.
Okay. Okay. We'll head upstairs. Quite an impressive space. This is, well, I suppose it's going to be used as a reception room. Yeah,
It's an executive lounge.
Executive lounge.
It was formerly the grand jury room.
So they're deliberating cases here?
Yes, potentially that's where the balconies are outside, where so the grand jury could then go out onto the balconies and listen to court proceedings and decide whether the defendant had a case to answer for or not. This space was then later used prior to its closure as a youth court as well. And yes, this is going to be used as an executive lounge, so staff area, really fantastic view out over.
Yeah, let's have a look at the view for a sec, because it will give you a real good appreciation of what we've got really here in up at Leicester Castle, because it is just such a historic little quarter. A great view of St Mary's. So, what kind of changes will you see in this room? How might it look when it's finished?
So mainly this room is going to be a furniture solution, so there'll be different types of seating arrangements, so big comfy sofas, more coffee table style. Things like the fireplace will be unboarded to expose the hearth and everything behind there. Generally, the bits and pieces, the bits of timber patching that are on the walls at the moment, they'll be removed and tidied up and redecorated here. This room is really quite light touch.
Yeah, well, it looks in good nick, and I think it will come pretty well. So we'll have a look at these balconies. You can see over into the court. This is going to be where maybe have some public galleries up here, but certainly people could peer over court proceedings. But these are going to be retained, and I guess they'll make an excellent place for people to observe a more public lecture.
Essentially, yes. If there's a call for sort of more capacity, yes, you could quite easily have a parlour-style teaching down there in the centre. You get a really good view of the lecture.
And you see the just amazing roof beadwork, which is, I don't think there's any big changes planned for that, is there?
No, certainly not to the roof structure. No,
Because that's all part of what makes it a listed building, is it not?
Yeah, the roof structure is 13th century. The columns that it all sits on are the original 11th century columns. But then it's the various stages of changes to the building, they re-roofed it in the 13th century. But it's still absolutely amazing. It's 700 years old, that roof there, and it's still standing.
And you're going to bring that out with a change of lighting.
We are, yes. So at the moment the lighting is very sort of standard really for the grandeur of the room. The chandelier is by no means an original item, so that will be removed, and then a more better hidden, shall we say, lighting scheme will have tracks sat on top of this beam that runs along here, which will then project light up into the roof space, so you really appreciate and highlight some of those details, but also then that will cast the light down onto the lecture space as well, to allow students to work as well.
Presumably, Dan, then it would be the cages again that allow you to get access to all this.
Yeah, the only real way to do these works is like a birdcage scaffold solution, so that's the process we're adopting in this area.
Okay, we'll head back through and then perhaps down. There's a couple of other routes. There's a similar balcony on the other side, which is over the other courtroom. So would you say there's 3 floors then? Because it's sort of floors interchangeable, or is that sort of semi...
4 levels really in the main building. We've got a ground and a first, but then each of those has a mezzanine level itself, so essentially there's 4 main levels in the building.
Okay.
But then there are 2 basement levels as well.
So this is the top level. What have we got up here, and how will we use...
Okay, so up here we've got to the side are the magistrates, jurors, and the judges' rooms, which were, and then a bit of a library area, as it was.
Lovely original 13th century sink. This is going to be restored. No, how will this be used in here?
So yeah, this is similar to the small rooms downstairs. So this is sort of more toilet accommodation. So within here we'll be subdividing with new partitions to create 2 or 3 loos in this level. With accessible loos as well. The fact that we've got the new lift coming in, so we can then provide fully accessible toilet accommodation throughout the building.
Good. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can see how when we go out to the castle garden. A bit. Bit of work going on in here. Just get some of these carpets. Are these shelves going to be brought back into use or cleaned up? Or?
Yeah, this is going to be more of a boardroom for maybe small seminars or meetings. Bookcases where they're going to stay in situ. We'll obviously give them a repaint to get rid of the rather brown colour and really bring them to life. Yeah, and the wallpaper as well will be taken off.
Oh, it's killing me. It's beautiful. Yeah, and then a little room.
There's a little kitchenette that's going to go in there as well, so if you have got a board style meeting, if you've got refreshments there if you need them.
Good. Okay, good. So is there anywhere else in the castle? If you go down, you've got this sketching of this vaulty area. Is that downstairs?
Vault area.
Lead the way to
yeah,
that
so,
bit.
yeah.
What's happening there? Cool. Watch for these steps. Okay, where are we now?
Okay, so this is we call it the wing. It's an extension that added onto the building in the 19th century. It contains a series of smaller rooms which were used for clerks and barristers during court proceedings and during intervals to really do the research about their day-to-day business really whilst they're in the courtroom. So these rooms are going to be transformed into more student-friendly workspaces. So you'll have some bigger sort of study booths and coffee tables. It's really areas that the students will probably spend most of their time rather than in the main lecture theatres.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a little bit shabby in here. It should be quite satisfying really to bring a room like this back. Got this corner here, probably similar to what you were talking about before, where there's too much paint and you can't get through. But
Exactly.
a job like this, which you've done, well, certainly at Woodhead, you've done other castles before.
Yeah, we've got quite experience in conservation. Just finished a Lincoln Castle Reveal project, which was quite a major project, a £20 million project. So.
When you're doing a listed building and you're working closely with conservation officers and you're doing this work, you can often uncover unexpected history, I suppose.
Yeah.
It can sometimes delay the project, but it can be really quite fascinating, I imagine. And you kind of come across those sort of things before.
We have many different scenarios and different projects, and yeah, there's always something to uncover on a heritage type project. So who knows what we're going to uncover on this one?
Yeah, but I imagine it's very satisfying too to take something which has such history, perhaps has been a little bit neglected for a while like this, and bring it to a fresh kind of use.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, it's I think this building's been empty for 25 years, isn't it? So it's going to be great to get it back into use and look at running again.
It'll also be mentioned this building is actually on the Historic England Buildings at-risk register. So to bring it back to life and have somebody using the book again is going to be more of an achievement.
And that'll take it on and off the register.
Off the register, yeah.
Okay, so we've got, what's all this through here? We're using.
So this is the vault area.
This is
here.
right.
So
What would this have been used for?
well, this was
evidence storage.
This was for document storage for court documents, and it was also used at one point for it was the public records office for the city as well. It's a bit of a hidden gem really in the building, and you tend to focus on the two courtrooms, but I think this as a space has a real atmosphere about it.
Well, what will it be used for?
This will be another seminar room again. So it'll be quite an interesting little space to have a little seminar in. The racking in the centre here, this will be removed. It's basically Victorian IKEA. It's all little components. So it should be relatively easy. That's probably big half a day here. But relatively easy to dismantle, and then we're then proposing to stick some of it back in the two alcoves here, which haven't got anything in at the moment, to mirror what we've got here. It's shame they've already been removed. Actually, there is one still there. There are a lot of old metal storage boxes that fit into all this shelving, which will come back into the room again.
So there would have been one of these in each of these three sessions?
Yes, there's some that size, but also these ones are slightly larger, and then there's some other bigger ones as well. So they would have been sort of fireproof boxes that contain a lot of the corporate documents. Each of them are all individually numbered, and some of them actually got names on them as well of the people whose boxes they belong to. So we're reinstating those, putting those back in these shelves, which again give it a real sense of character to the space.
Temperature's cooler in here, naturally enough, with the brickwork, but is that just going to be a feature of it, or is that?
No, there's a heating coil that runs around here at the moment, which does still work, but it's a bit of a hazard. It's stuck out into the floor and people potentially trip over it. So we'll be taking that out and putting in a couple of radiators there to at least make it a nice workable temperature. Definitely, I think if you're in here for too long, it'll feel a bit too cold, unfortunately.
Look at this really old box of Everard's matches. What's its story? How did it get here? Who knows? Was this Jack the Ripper's confession note? I don't know. Anyway, let's. Well, that's the thing with them, they're probably not going to be brought into use. Kind of, it's definitely an aspect. If we head out the back, we can look at the landscaping that's going to be going on. By the way, this is an impression of the room that we were just in, the vaults room, of how that might look. This is by maybe the architects who saw that cross. These are the storage boxes, and that's the space that it could be turned into, just to give you an idea. We're going to go out the back now, lead straight into Castle Gardens. Watch your head. Good job you've got your protective helmet on. The bird's wing. So yeah, this is the rear entrance, which actually won't be used as the main one, will it?
Right, no.
So talk us through how this is going to change and how it might look.
Okay, so basically there's going to be quite a radical transformation out here. As you can see, it's incredibly overgrown, brambles. All the stuff that you see here is all self-seeded. It was never really intended to look like this, certainly not. The terrace that we're standing on at the moment is going to be relaid. We'll have York stone paving on here, so match all the stone paving that's out the front of the building. The steps are in quite poor condition, don't comply with current legislation, so we're going to look at removing those and building new steps down out onto the council gardens so they fully comply. And then we've got quite a fantastic landscaping scheme of descending terraces from this main level here, so you get a really nice view when you're walking down to the castle gardens of the back of the building now.
Will you have maybe tables and chairs out here, or things, or
It's a possibility, yes. It's however DMU want to really use the space. Yeah.
So now these are dangerous steps. We could perhaps, because it's interesting, because you plan to have another entrance around the side, don't you? So you would be able to actually come through that gate if you were to visit. If you're a student on your way to a lecture, you could come through that gate, right?
It's a possibility, yes, you could, yeah.
Potentially. And then you're going to have another entrance, so this wouldn't be the main entrance here.
There is another entrance to go through. It's in this little side, this little lean-to area here behind this tree. Underneath there are the cells where the defendants would have stayed before they went up to their trial. So just to help in terms of access and fire escape issues, we're putting a new entrance in through there as well. But it won't really be used as a day-to-day entrance to the building. That will all be from the front. I think this may be used as a bit of a breakout space, but generally the link between the park won't be so strong.
And what stage in the work does this landscaping take place?
It will be, I think it's towards the end of the summer, because again at the back of the building we've got to, well, first of all we've got to get some mechanical equipment out of the basement. So we've got to form a hole in this concrete slab and get mechanical equipment out. Basically we've got to scaffold this elevation so we can clean the brickwork again, refurb the windows. And it's only when that scaffolding comes down we can really start cracking on with the works at the back here. Again, like I said earlier, everything's pretty much got to come through Castle Gardens, so it's going to be a bit of a logistical challenge for us in terms of getting stuff in and that interface with the public.
But I imagine, I always think kind of a real overgrown bit of garden like this is quite satisfying to see it transform into a neat ordered.
Yeah, I think the transformation here is going to be considerable.
Yeah,
so it's going to be nice to see.
And I think for everyone, people of Leicester who kind of walk through here to sort of see this cleaned up, tidied up, it's just going to be really, because I think a lot of people, certainly the times I've walked through here, barely look up at the castle. You just kind of walk past it. It would just be that eye-catching thing that it should be, and it'll be really satisfying to see that. Okay, well, the work is 2 weeks underway, and there's still obviously a lot of it to go, but generally speaking, how will it unfold throughout the rest of the year? Yeah,
so we've got a 24-week contract period for the project. That's assuming everything goes well and we don't uncover anything. So it's, but yeah, I believe the university wants to open the facility for the new semester in January, and we'll do all we can to obviously achieve that. But hopefully we don't find anything too disturbance going to delay us.
Okay, well thank you all very much for showing us around. We're going to walk back through, and then if he's going to go and look at some of the surrounding grounds, I think. So we'll head through. Right, guys, thank you very much for showing us around today. We'll, as things progress, we'll come down and capture this, because it's nice to be able to show people of Leicester and potential students, staff here, how things are progressing. So yes, thank you very much for your help today.
Thank you.
So we've just taken you through a tour of our new Leicester Castle Business School. Obviously, as you can see at the minute, it's all under construction, but so much exciting stuff that we're able to find out there. A little bit of history about the castle, what all the plans are for what it's going to look like in the future. Obviously, the castle hasn't been in use for about 25 years, but even with that, it still looks really impressive. So I'm just going to take you on a little bit of a tour around the back of the castle now, and then back onto campus. So you will have seen some of the back of the castle just then anyway, but it's not quite the same from this other view. So the area that we're just going up to now is the castle motte, and I've got a little bit of history on this for you. So this is probably a very little known area of certainly of DMU and definitely of Leicester as well, I'd say. I mean, I've lived in Leicester most of my life, and until I was here at DMU I didn't even know this was here. So it's nice to be able to take you up here just to have a little look. So this is kind of at the top of Castle Gardens, which you can see just down there, kind of in the background. It's quite a quiet, peaceful little area, and it's got a whole section all about the history of the castle motte just here, which you can see. So this shows you what the castle and the area would have looked like in medieval Leicester, and this is kind of all just a levelled earthwork mound now, and all that remains of the previous motte and wooden castle. But it's great because you can actually see quite a bit of campus there. So we've got the Church of St Mary de Castro just there, and then if we just look round, you can see our Hugh Aston building, which is great because you can always see it in the skyline because it's nice in that nice bright green colour. So this section was where when the original castle was built, the original wooden castle will have all been around this area, but over time that's changed. Some parts have been demolished and moved on, and the motte now is what's left. Just there you can see what is left of the castle, which will be our Leicester Castle Business School. And you might remember just a second ago we were just having a look in the vault, which is where a lot of the records and evidence was kept. And this is actually the back section of the vault, just here. So you can see it's all kind of under construction at the minute. There isn't very much going on there, but that will obviously look somewhat different once it's all completed. And obviously the construction team's got quite a task on their hands, but as they were explaining earlier, they've got quite a lot of experience in this area, working under the castles in Lincolnshire and other areas across the UK. So this is kind of their expertise. So it's really exciting to see what kind of stuff they're going to come up with. And obviously my colleague Chris earlier was also able to show you some of the images and the kind of architecture impressions of what the plans are for that, which is really exciting to be able to see what it will look like. But at the minute it's hard to imagine that because of the way it looks at the moment and how different it's potentially going to look. So if you haven't been before, this is Castle Gardens, which is a beautiful little spot right next to campus. It's probably about 30 seconds walk from our Hugh Aston, Portland buildings. It's really, really quiet here in the day. But obviously at the weekends and when it's nice and sunny, you get plenty of people walking through and just coming to have a sit down and have a look around. This was actually used as a rubbish dump until 1926, which is hard to imagine now because it's such a beautiful spot. But it wasn't until 1926 that it was kind of taken on and retransformed into something else. So now we're just coming to the back of the castle. This is the area where we were just a few minutes ago, just having a look at the landscaping and how the back of the garden would look. So again, it's hard to imagine at the minute what this is going to look like because it is just completely overgrown. It's not really the kind of place that you'd be able to just walk up and down because the steps are so steep, and as they explained, they're not really exactly safe. But this gives you a good view of what the back looks like. You can see some construction men in the window there. And again, like my colleague Chris was explaining earlier, actually a lot of people in Leicester would probably walk by here every single day and not even notice that it was here because it's so overgrown you can't actually see the castle very well at all. But once this has all been landscaped, there'll be new steps down here, there'll be access to people going into the castle from this section here. New doorway as well. Hopefully it'll be something that everybody will be able to see and spot and enjoy the look of. And it actually backs right on to the River Soar, which at this time of year is beautiful because you've always got loads of the narrow boats, huge number of swans.
Look at these swans.
Colleague Chris has just given a wave to the swans, but
They thought I had bread and they were interested. Look at them now. They're going to be disappointed.
yeah,
Morning, swans.
swans
Hope you're well.
seem to be converging right near us right now. We're going to go over the bridge in a second, so fingers crossed they don't get out of the river and come over to us.
It can be frightening.
They can be a little bit frightening.
Must take care. Respect the swan. Look at that swan. Oh, steady.
Oh, two swans playing. Maybe this is like a swan school.
It might be.
So that just goes to show, I mean, this is literally on DMU's doorstep. This is part really of the DMU campus. So you've got everything from where we started right at the beginning, next to our Hugh Aston and Hawthorne buildings, which are right at the centre of campus. Our Hugh Aston building in particular, that's quite a modern structure. And then literally just right next to it, you've got what will be our Leicester Castle Business School, the river, swans. So it's quite a diverse looking campus, which is great because you've got pretty much everything that you want, really. See that little swan just there having a nice clean. And another. So I know a few people have sent in some comments already. If you've got any comments, any questions for us, if we're able to answer them just about the campus and what you're able to see, then feel free to send them in. And just over that section just there where you can see, that takes you right into the centre of Leicester. That's where all of your shops, your high cross shopping centre, your bars, restaurants, they all are. Again, literally a 5-minute walk from campus, so not far at all.
There's a swan armada heading down the river.
Yep, all the swans now seem to be moving after someone else. So I think this building just here is the land registry building. I think that's right. So we're just walking back into another section of campus now. On the left hand side you'll be able to see there we've got the venue, and just on the right we've got our QE2 gym and leisure centre, which I think it was a month or two ago now, just after Leicester City won the league. We had Christian Fuchs came, Leicester City player, Austria captain. He came to speak to some of our students, had a chat with him. There's a great video on our YouTube account actually of him playing rock, paper, scissors with one of our students, so you should go over onto our YouTube channel, De Montfort University Leicester, and have a look at that because it's quite funny. So this is the venue. This will actually be, and has been previously, our graduation village. So for those students who are going to be here in July for their graduations, you'll be here in this section here. It's a nice big wide space, which at the moment has got cars in it, but it won't obviously have these cars in it when we're here for the graduation village. So this was the venue here was the first building to open as part of our £136 million campus transformation programme. It's a 5.4 million building which opened in 2015. It was a complete transformation. This used to be our former John Sanford Sports Centre, which obviously was replaced with our Queen Elizabeth II Sports Centre. But it was a complete transformation, kind of inside and out. Full range of high-tech audio and visual equipment for events. It was only on Friday actually that our Vice-Chancellor hosted his talk here with students and staff that were at the university following the result of the EU referendum, just offering some reassurance to staff, just discussing what it means for us as a university as well. So this building can accommodate up to about 800 people. Like I said before, it's now the home to our DMU graduations. So as I was mentioning just a second ago, we had a chat with our Vice-Chancellor, or our Vice-Chancellor had a chat with us, hosted an event for us on Friday just to speak about what the EU referendum means for us as a university, trying to answer some questions that some staff and students had. But also is hosting another event this evening on campus at 5:30. This is our kind of launch of our Love International event tonight, which is taking place at 5:30 in our Hawthorne Square, which again is where we started this broadcast. So this campaign that our Vice-Chancellor is launching is about to basically protect the residency rights of our colleagues from the EU who might be affected by the decision to leave the EU. So we've got over 300 international staff here at DMU, 120 of which are from the EU. So obviously it's important for us as an organisation and a university to try and offer some reassurance where we can, and that's why our Vice-Chancellor has launched this campaign. Obviously many of those staff are quite understandably unsettled and kind of need the university's support and practical support as well. So it's just basically an act of solidarity this afternoon at 5:30 here on DMU, showing that we all stand together with those staff here at DMU, our EU and international staff as well. I mean, as a university we do loads of international and global stuff here. There's so much stuff on our website for you to have a look at, and on YouTube as well, Facebook, Twitter, all of it. There's a really great video actually that that was uploaded late last week, which is from lots of our international students talking about what it is that they love here at DMU and why they love to be here at DMU. So you should go and have a look at that. We put it on our Facebook page at the end of last week, and it's on YouTube as well. Really nice video, having a chat with some of our international students. So if you get the chance, you should go over and have a quick look at that. So we're just coming towards the end of the broadcast now, but what I thought I'd do just before we finish is just take a walk down Western Boulevard, which is, again, this is just along the back of our campus where you can see the river just here, Western Boulevard. So if there's any people who are actually from Leicester, you'll probably recognise this area. We're going to take a little wander actually down the canal. But I'm basically taking you down here because this lets you see the other end of our campus and the other part of our campus redevelopment. So we've got a new centre for our art and design students, which is being created, which is kind of coming to an end now. So this is part of our whole transformation for De Montfort University, 136 million campus transformation, which includes changes to our student union, the campus centre where they are, the venue, the new centre for our art and design students, Leicester Castle, which we've just been through, Mill Lane, which is going to be completely landscaped as well, so students, it's kind of a bit more an inviting area for students. It's not just somewhere that you can walk from one building to another. It'll actually be completely landscape, an area where students can sit when it's warm and when it's not raining, which it probably will be in the next hour because you can see by the grey clouds already. But when it is sunny, the idea is that students will be able to be around there and spend some time there out in the sunshine. There'll also be a large TV screen that's going to be erected onto the side of one of the buildings, which will be great. So we're just getting a small glimpse now of our new building. You can just see it there. And I guess you can imagine from the buildings that you've seen so far, so our Hugh Aston, our Hawthorne, Leicester Castle, they're all quite different. So it's not as if all of the buildings here at DMU look exactly the same. They're all quite unique and have got their own little personality. So just look down here, we can see the next bridge, and then the rest of the construction site just there. You can just see the end of the building just here, but we're just going to go back onto the bridge because you'll be able to see the building in full. And if you are a student at Montfort University, you might have left for the summer now, so this is just giving you an update on how the progress is going at your university. If you're not here at DMU but you're coming in September, it's the same thing. You're able to see some of the great stuff that's happening here at DMU, ready for when you get here. And if you're not coming to DMU, maybe now you've seen all of this, you might consider it. There's so much redevelopment here at DMU. Every single day you come onto campus, there's something new, something different. So if we just turn around, you can pretty much see the whole of that section of our redevelopment, which is a nice backdrop just onto the river here. If you look just here, there's a swan and its little baby chicks. That's the kind of thing you get at DMU.
Little chicks.
Okay, well I hope you've all enjoyed that. You feel like you're fully briefed on what's going on with Leicester Castle Business School now. Still loads of information on our website. De Montfort University Leicester, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us on all of them and you'll be able to keep updated with all the progress. Thanks, see you soon.